Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 8, race number 9 of our F1 2021 MyTeam career mode here with Baton GP, named after its famous driver, as the game would say. But today we are going to go through a little bit of R&D, just see what's been upgraded, see what needs upgrading, just seeing if we can do a paratrain, but realised we've already got one on the go. We're going to put a gearbox durability upgrade on in a moment because the gearbox has not been able to fulfill the 6 races, as you can see from the start. So we've had to take a gearbox penalty. So the durability of these cars not quite up to level yet. We've been focused on power and just, trying to make the car pretty much drivable because it's not been drivable for the first part of the season. There's only been a couple of races where it's felt nice. France was one of them. I think Austria was another, and it's been an okay car to drive, but at times it's also been rubbish. But we're gonna get into this race in a moment. But you'll probably see in a moment we have to take a complete new row of components. Now you can see here we've got fresher parts than we would have had before. But the game still says that we are using seriously worn components in the car, which I've realised is a glitch. At the time I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to risk it. So as you can see right now, we're just fiddling with all the little options, just trying to see, what's the worn component, what's not the worn component, stuff like that. And eventually we'll end up just deciding, here you go, that we're just going to take grid penalties to drop us down the field, which you'll notice as well doesn't actually drop us down the field when we put all these penalties on, because realistically we should start last. You'll see in a moment that we don't start last, so I don't really know what happened, but here we are, Q1, and we're going to jump straight to the end of our first flying lap around this long sweeping right-hander. Down the pit straight, we're going to set a 16.014 as our first lap. Now, second lap, we're 4 tenths up. Can we get anywhere near getting our car into Q2? Right now, it looks very unlikely, but we're pushing as hard as we can. We're 2 tenths up on Giovinazzi, who's in the last position. That would be safe to get through. We're pushing as hard as we possibly can. This will be our last run in quali. If we can get into Q2, we'll try and get through. Well, get as high up as possible. But into the final corner. Coming around. Onto the pit straight. Good acceleration off the corner. 15.620. Does enough just for now. But is it enough to put us into Q2? And unfortunately it's not. We're P19 and P20 for Baton GP.
It's race day in Budapest as we get ready for another round of the Formula One World Championship. We don't expect too many retirements at this track. There are plenty of current and former drivers with flawless finish rates here. In particular, Ralf Schumacher. He made it across the line in all 10 of his Hungarian Grand Prix starts. 14 corners then for our drivers to navigate at the 2.7-mile Hungaro ring today. It's 6 lefts and 8 rights around a lap here, with average speeds in the region of 120 miles per hour. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Why don't we start by talking about Carlos Sainz? As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Norris, Leclerc, Gasly, Vettel, and Yuki Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Esteban Ocon, and Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, Raikkonen, Nikita Mazepin, and Carlos Sainz, Baxter, Schwartzman, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the...
And we gear up to the 5 red lights. And it is go, go, go for the Hungarian Grand Prix here at Budapest. And we get an okay launch off the line as always, trying to get in the slipstream of our teammate, jolting all over the place. And now we go down the inside of 7 drivers. What a move that is, to push us up into P12 off the line. Now, behind Esteban Ocon, we're on the better tyres. We're going to dive Esteban down the inside of him. We're up into P11. Can we hold it from the Alpine car? No, we made a huge mistake along the track. Is he going to go around the outside of us? We're not going to fight this too hard on lap 1. It's not worth getting damaged. And Ocon gets us back. We're up into P12 though, off the line. What an amazing launch that was. Now, can we push forward and see what positions we can get? We're on the better tyres, fresher softs compared to the drivers in front of us, so most of them are on worn mediums, so they set their Q2 laps on, and fresh mediums as well, so we should have the grip advantage, but unfortunately we don't have the car advantage. So we're just going to have to push as hard as we can. As you can see there, we were pushing very, very hard, and we went wide. Now, hard braking, up behind Ocon, we're pushing him through all of these corners. Eventually though, his tyres will come into their own, so I reckon they're cold right now. We get on the curb and nearly lose it, but just about get lucky. Now, into the final corner, Hamilton leads the race right now from, I believe, what is a McLaren and then Bottas. But that's completely changed now, I believe. The Red Bulls are flying on lap 7. We've boxed now. There's nothing that happened in that first little part of the race there for us. But we're into the pits for our first pit stop. And fingers crossed, it's a good pit stop from the crew without any issues. And then we can come back out and push as hard as we can before we have to pit again. We're doing a 2-stop today for 2 sets of medium tyres. Fingers crossed, it will help us progress forward in this race. Decent pit stop. Now we're coming out behind Nicholas Latifi. We're in 21st. I think we're just ahead of Carlos Sainz, who's down in 22nd. I don't know what's going on with Carlos, but he's right down the very bottom of the grid.
If you cross over into the track.
And here you go. Here's the little replay of us coming out of the pits. Don't know why this has been left in, but it has. But now we jump up to lap 9, the start of lap 9, and we beat Schwartzman, who is pitted. When he pitted, he was 9 seconds behind us. Before we pitted, sorry. Now, I think the gap might be about 11 seconds. But we're absolutely flying. We've got Carlos Sainz up behind us. We're trying to keep him there. But the Ferrari is so much more superior to our car. And we're just pushing as hard as we possibly can. Carlos is staying with us. He will not get off our tail. He's all over the back of us now. Is he going to try and have a go at us at some point soon? We're gaining on Nicholas Latifi as well at the same time, as Carlos is just pushing. He's pushing us through these corners at this point. Decides to not go down the inside here because it's basically a one-wide car corner. You can't really overtake there. It's not a smart decision. But oh my god, look at the back end of our car. We're loose everywhere. We nearly went around twice there in 2 corners. Make that 3 times. We are pushing so hard. Our car will not grip to the circuit. We are absolutely on it. And the back end goes again. We can't push any harder. If we push any harder, we will meet a wall. This is very, very poor from our... Oh my god, we nearly go again. Our car is struggling for downforce in this race. It is all over the place. And now Carlos Sainz is going to try and make the most of that. We don't have any DRS because we're not quite close enough to the Latifi. He uses his DRS. He tries to go around the outside of us. And he does, but we try and outbrake him into turn 1 and just about keep the position for now. We're still in P20, just ahead of Carlos Sainz. But now, Nicholas Latifi starting to be homed in on, right in front of us. Fingers crossed we can have a go nice and early, but we might have to follow him and now around to the pit straight. There's not very many overtaking spots around here at Hungary. Get on the curb slightly, get a little bit scared in the turn-in. So just trying to be cautious. Go for the tiny little cutback line. We're seeing there's a potential here. Nicholas Latifi's going very slow, locks up, and we throw our car down the inside of the Williams driver. Here's a little replay of it. It's a beautiful move down the inside into the chicane. That's how you do it. Lovely move. We move on. We're P19 now. Homing in on George Russell, who's 5.4 seconds up the road. Now he's 4.3 seconds up the road. Sainz also got Latifi not long after we did. Now, we just can't break Sainz. He's staying with us. But 4.3 seconds now to catch George Russell. That's what we're aiming for. He's the next target. Then Vettel ahead might be a little bit fast for us to try and battle in his Mercedes-powered Aston Martin. Remember, we're in a Honda-powered MyTeam car of Baton GP. So, yeah, our Honda power is probably not going to be the same as the Mercedes at the moment. But when it gets buffed, we will be one of the best engines on the grid. But now, we are 1.2 seconds, 1.1 second. We're just a little bit outside of the DRS detection for Russell. But Sainz is in the DRS of us, but does not have a go there. Now, catching up with George Russell coming into the final few corners. All over the back of him now. We're just going to bide our time. We've got to make sure Sainz doesn't go for a move on us. Up behind George Russell, trying to think about where we can pass him. Had a little look there, way too far back. Trying to be cautious. Into the final corner now. Get on the power as early as possible. Get the DRS open. The ERS on. Deployed. We got Sainz about to have a go at us. So we decide to dive bomb it down the inside of George Russell. What a move that was. And Carlos Sainz is trying to follow us through. Can Russell defend from Sainz to give us a little bit of a breathing room from Sainz? And Sainz is trying to go around the outside now. Can he hold it there? He's going to go down the inside of this corner, and he just about gets past George Russell as well. So we still do not get rid of Carlos Sainz. He is still behind us. Now, up behind Vettel, Raikkonen and Mazepin, who are going pretty slow at this point. Mazepin is creating a little train for himself now with Raikkonen and Vettel there. Vettel will be released, I think, at the end of this lap, because the two cars in front do need to pit because their tyres look like they've gone off. So I would presume they're going to box now and let Sebastian go. Now, and then there'll be a real test. Can we keep up with the Aston Martin? I don't think we can, but we may be able to manage it. And there you are. There's Raikkonen and Mazepin into the pits. And you can see Sebastian is already getting away from us just on the corner alone. And down the pit straight, we got DRS and ERS activated. He's got DRS from the two cars that pitted, but he's just getting away from us. And you can see just ahead, Fernando Alonso jumps both of us in the pit lane. Not ideal. Now we make a little mistake here. Carlos Sainz is thinking about a move down the inside. You should not overtake there unless you're completely side by side with the driver. And as you can see from the replay here, you might not see it from this one, but you'll see it from the next one on board with Sainz. He was not side by side with us. We didn't know where he was. We have to take the corner at some point, and if we did not take the corner, we'd go straight on and it would not end well. Here goes slow motion replay. He's not even side by side with our wheel, and as you can see, he turns too early. He shouldn't be there, and then he straightens the car up, which forces him into the side of us, and that's what makes him spin. Carlos Sainz error, I believe. We move on now. We've got Sebastian Vettel now 2 seconds up the road from us. We're ahead of Schumacher and Giovinazzi after they've pitted. Lap 18. We're getting a little bit worried. We know there's rain due at the end of this race, so we're just trying to push as hard as we possibly can. We want the tyres at the end to be fresh, and we're considering boxing, but you can see we've got Giovinazzi about nearly 12 seconds back from us now, and we asked Jeff.
I think we may see some rain. ETA is about 15 minutes.
So Jeff's telling us the rain is due in about 15 minutes, which if you think about it, 1.1 second lap, 1.19 second laps, that's about 15 laps anyways, 16 laps. So off that logic, we should be okay. But as you can see, George Russell, who was battling with earlier, has pulled over and retired from the Grand Prix. His car's had enough, and we decide now, we're coming in on this lap. We're going to get some fresh mediums and try and push on the drivers just in front of us, which will be Giovinazzi, Schumacher, and I don't know who else. Maybe Mazepin, maybe Raikkonen. We'll see in a moment. Maybe Schwartzman. And it's a 2.8 second pit stop, so not the best pit stop we could have got. And we're coming out of pits just behind Schwartzman. Can we get ahead of Mazepin and Raikkonen? It's crucial for our race to be in front of these two. And we just about manage it. Now we can hunt down Schwartzman, our teammate. As you can see, there was George Russell on the left-hand side, retired from the race. Unfortunately for him. Now we're going to push and see how close we can get to Robert Schwartzman, our teammate. Gaining very, very fast now. Coming up behind him. He is really going slow, so his tyres must already be struggling. He has not got any pace on these sets of tyres. We're just pushing into every corner. We're going to cheer if we can get the DRS activated and the ERS on as well. Can we get Schwartzman nice and comfortably? We're not gaining as fast as we'd like because he's got the same power unit. But a nice little move down the inside. He doesn't fight it too hard. Obviously, us being his boss and teammates as well, he shouldn't fight it too hard. And we're up another position. Let's try and hunt down Schumacher, who's about 5 seconds up the road. And Giovinazzi 6 seconds as well. But as you can see, Hamilton is out of the Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton has an issue and he's pulled over on the penultimate corner. He is out of the Grand Prix. And we are now still pushing to catch Schumacher, as you can see at the top now. Lewis Hamilton out of the session. Yes, I have forgotten to move the subscribe bit. But please do subscribe and like my video. It really does help me out. Now let's push and see if we can catch Mick Schumacher and Antonio Giovinazzi to try and get our highest position since our points. And here we go. Grid order, race order now. Perez leads by Verstappen, the 2 Red Bulls out front. Then Leclerc. Then Bottas. Hamilton currently still in the race at this point when we did this. Gasly, Norris, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, and Fernando Alonso making up the final points position. As you can see there, there's a slight editing problem where, yeah, I forgot that Hamilton retired. Maybe it might have happened that lap as well, actually, to be honest with you. It might have been the same lap that I did that. So, yeah, it's just, I caught it just before his retirement. But, you know, it is what it is. Now we're pushing, and we nearly lose the back end. We're pushing so hard now. We've got Mazepin and Raikkonen. We're gaining on Schumacher. As you can see, the clouds are starting to come over now. Are we going to switch to wet tyres by the end of this race? Wet will not be likely. But are we going to have to go for another pit stop and go onto the inters by the end of this race? We don't know. But now, we're in DRS activation point of Schumacher. We shouldn't get it this lap, I don't think, because the activation point is on the final corner. And there's only one activation point for this circuit. Now, can we get close enough to Schumacher to have a go nice and early? We get on the curb, just about get lucky we don't spin out there. And we're pushing. DRS now open. DRS not being used yet, because we don't see the point. We're not close enough. We're just using the DRS just to get a little bit closer now. We're saving a little bit of ERS, just because we're going to need it when we do go for the move. Schumacher still there for the taking. We're just trying to bide our time, wait for a move on him. And as you can see, we're just sussing out right now where he's weak, where he's losing so much time to us, where we can have a go. And right now, it feels like he's weak everywhere. And we're just biding our time. We're waiting, because realistically, I don't think we can get any higher than Giovinazzi, because the gap after Giovinazzi is quite big to the Aston Martin cars. And we won't be able to catch them anyway. So we're just biding our time here on Schumacher. We had to go a little bit wide there, because if we tried to turn any more, we spun. Now, Schumacher is still in our way. I think we'll be able to have a go down the main straight this time, and we should be able to make it nice and comfortably. Just biding our time. We're waiting and we're waiting. Try and get a good run off this final turn, which we managed just about to do. DRS and ERS both in play. Can we make the move on Schumacher? We should be able to make it nice and early into the corner. We go down the inside. Nice, comfortable overtake. He defends slightly, but not as aggressively as he probably could have done. But now, up next for us is Giovinazzi, Antonio Giovinazzi. We need to catch him and pass him. 13th place for this car would be superb around a track that's based around the chassis and the aero. And both of them for our car aren't fantastic. So we're just going to hope we can do the best we can. Nearly hitting the back of Giovinazzi into turn 1. He broke so early. Now we get the DRS and the ERS in play now. Can we go for a move? We're a little bit far back, aren't we? No, we're not. We go down the inside. A little bit of wheel banging. We make the move. We're up into P13 here on lap 30 now. And you can see we're now asking Jeff what's going on with the weather. We're panicking.
Watch out, dries seem like the best tyre for now.
He's saying the rain should hit any time now. And here it is. Here is the rain. There's 3 laps left. As we cross
Peak
the
out
line,
to the
3
car
laps
ahead is
remaining. And it is raining
22.3 seconds.
here in Austria. And we're on dry tyres. This could get very precarious by the end. Fingers crossed it does not for us. We need to just make sure we can get this car to the end. And we're tiptoeing now. Losing the back end slightly, getting on the curb. You don't want to be anywhere near the curbs in these conditions. But we're now struggling. We're not pushing the car anymore. We're just tiptoeing. We're going to go into our final lap.
This is
Still
your
on the
final
dry
lap,
tyres.
final lap of the
In
race.
damp conditions. It is treacherous out here now. Can we just get around this final lap without too many mistakes? We're just going to tiptoe now. And through the final corner, we come home for P13. And as you can see, very happy of ourselves. What a result.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And we also pick up Driver of the Day. Fantastic day for ourselves.
Victory for the team from Milton Keynes then, after a quality performance. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
That's a huge result there for Red Bull Honda, who get a 1-2, who are the factory team for the Honda engine that we run as well. So that's good for us. We're happy to see that. 1-2, Perez wins, Verstappen second, and Charles Leclerc comes home in third place for the Ferrari team. No Mercedes on the podium. Brilliant to see.
Max Verstappen now leads the Drivers' Championship. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Baxter. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. Red Bull take over as championship leaders. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
And as you can see there, we're 14th in the championship with 5 points ourselves. Our team are 8th in the Constructors with 5 points as well, because Schwartzman's yet to pick up a single point for the team. But who can blame him, to be honest? The car is rubbish. But yeah, we're beating Alfa Romeo, Haas and Williams, who've got 0 points.
I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You were cutting your way through the field during the race.
We're going to big up the chassis here. Can't big up the engine because it's not fantastic.
Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing.
And let's just give the team a little bit of morale boost.
Great. Well, that's everything.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you're new around here, subscribe for more. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. I've been Chris12LFC, and I'll see you later.